How's it going, guys? Welcome back to Fraud on the Telly. In today's video, we're going to be ranking the top 5 guests and their player characters in everyone's favorite streamed D&D campaign featuring those nerdy-ass voice actors, Critical Role. Across the 3 Critical Role campaigns at the time of recording, we've had around 21 guest characters with a total of 22 guests. So I thought it would be fun in today's video if I ranked my top 5 guests from all of the Critical Role campaigns. Like a lot of the content that we do, this is just my opinion. So if you disagree with me, that's completely fine. Feel free to let me know your top 5 guests in the comments down below, because I already know I'm probably going to leave your favorite guest and their character out of my list. This video will contain certain spoilers for Critical Role campaigns 1, 2, and 3, as how can I talk about these guests and their player characters without spoiling something, so consider yourself warned. As always, if you enjoy the video or learn something new, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get right into it, shall we? Number 5, Dusk. The most recent of Critical Role's guest characters at the time of recording, Dusk is an elven warlock played by voice actress Erika Ishii. Dusk goes on this list for one main reason. She is the first Critical Role guest character to feature as an antagonist working with Matt that the cast are completely unaware of, making her first appearance in Campaign 3, Episode 24, the Hellcatch Valley. The party would save Dusk from being attacked by a group of street gangs. Eventually, Dusk would get to know the party. She would reveal the fact that she has been staying in the Feywild and doesn't remember a lot of her recent life. Her and Fern would bond over this Feywild goodness, eventually Dusk revealing that she knows Fern's parents, as her personal mission is to find her parents, who she hasn't seen in 90 years. But you see, a few moments later, when Matt makes the rest of the party leave the table except for Dusk, we get revealed her true intentions. You see, Dusk actually is working for the Fey Unseelie Court, and she has been instructed to murder Fern and her parents. Now, at the time of recording, we haven't seen how this is going to play out yet, but just for this whole interaction alone, Dusk has to make our list, because it's one of the coolest interactions we've seen and the coolest uses we've seen of a guest character on Critical Role so far. Matt obviously doesn't like to have guest characters for no reason. He likes to use them in a way to facilitate the plot movement in some form, and I really love what he's doing here with Erika. As well, just a note on Erika, she is a fantastic voice actress and a fantastic actress, just full stop. Watching her play basically 2 different characters at once in the campaign is so freaking fun. The fact that the cast are completely oblivious makes it awesome, and as we the audience know the secret that Dusk is in fact a bad guy, it's so fun watching her trying to manipulate the party with their one-on-one interactions. Watching her do these drastic shifts of personality is so wild. She goes from this really crazy kind of kooky Dusk to all of a sudden this super serious and dark Dusk, depending on who she's speaking to. And obviously, it's just Erika flexing her acting muscles, but it makes for a really fun, interesting dynamic that I can't wait to see how it plays out. Overall, a very fun character with an extremely talented player in a very unique situation that up until now Critical Role has not employed while using guest characters. You see, that's part of the fun. Matt's taking advantage of the fact that out of character, his players are going to want to include Erika into the party because it's a nice thing that you can do. But he's taking advantage of that, using their naivety, their gullibleness, if you will, to plant a little seed. And God, is it fun to watch. And for those reasons, that's why she's number 5 on our list. Number 4, Kashaw Vesh. Played by actor and voice actor Will Friedle, Kashaw made his first appearance in Campaign 1, Episode 20, Trial of the Take. Kashaw is a tall human life cleric. He has long brown hair, and he wears a leather cord around his forehead. On his right arm, he bears 51 small scars. Kashaw is best known for his prickly and cynical personality, oftentimes making sarcastic remarks and insulting many members of Vox Machina. Oh yeah, and who could forget that Keyleth kiss moment? Like our 5th entry, Dusk, there's just something so entertaining about seeing a character show up and be at odds with a party, especially one that's already fully formed. Obviously, Cash isn't an outright antagonist, but the guy is very prickly, and he's very different from basically all of the other members of Vox Machina. I mean, to be honest, the guy's a bit of a dick. We come to know that he eventually has a heart of gold, but for the first, episode, even 2 episodes that he is in, he's extremely prickly, extremely off-putting to how the party normally interact, making for some absolutely hilarious scenes. See, Will Friedle wasn't afraid to put Cash in scenarios that would put him at odds with the party. You see, Cash is a cleric, so his deity is an entity known as Vesh, an evil entity, I might add, one that Will Friedle himself completely made up for the character. Cash was bonded to this entity the moment he was born and trained his entire life to be a healer in order to balance out Vesh's darkness. Originally just appearing as a guest in a 2-episode side arc, Cash, along with his partner Zara, would become integral allies to Vox Machina in their story, joining them in their fight against the Chroma Conclave and Vecna. Being this long interlocked with the party would allow Cash to experience a lot of character growth, making him become this kind of rough character around the edges with a heart of gold. We even see him risking the summoning of his patron Vesh in order to bring Vex back to life whenever she was killed in Pervonsul's tomb. Along with his partner Zara, no other guest character has had an impact on the story of Critical Role, let alone the party, as much as Kashaw, and for that reason he makes number 4 on our list. Number 3, Sprig, played by voice actor and just gem of a human being Darren DePaul. Sprig first appears in Campaign 1, Episode 105, towards the climax of the campaign. The party are looking for a key in order to plane shift to see the goddess Iyun in order to stop Vecna. It's here that they stumble upon a strange home in the middle of the woods, where they find an elderly gnome living alone by himself. Well, I guess not completely alone, as he has a small imp companion. See, Sprig has not interacted with another person for a good 37 years, so the gnome is a little bit off his rocker. Having been part of an adventuring party before in his life, you see Sprig had fled when all of his party members had died to a group of hobgoblins. The character in many ways is traumatized from this moment. In addition, he, like we said earlier, he hasn't spoken to another person for 37 years, so the guy is completely lost it in an absolutely hilarious way that only Darren can do. It also just so happens that Sprig is an actually reoccurring character, one that Darren had played in a previous campaign early on in his life, one that Matt Mercer's mother apparently featured in. Because of all of this, Sprig has gone absolutely off it in the head, and this comes off in both a tragic but also a hilarious way. You see, Darren has this absolutely amazing stage presence. In a way, it's a very akin to Sam. He has this very, very interesting way in which he can take something hilarious, make you laugh about it so hard in one of the most simplest ways, and then all of a sudden turn it into this deep emotional feeling inside of you. In one breath, he could have the cast laughing their ass off, and in the next, he has their heart in their hand. The guy is an absolutely amazing improv actor. I'm no expert, but from my experience watching his brief stint in the 2 episodes that he's in Campaign 1, the guy's probably the best improv actor they've had on the show. He reminds me a lot of Sam, like I said, in many ways. This ability to have people completely laughing their ass off in one breath, and then in the next breath, there's this deep emotional connection that you never saw coming. This is something that Sam's done literally on every single one of his characters. Sam almost always plays the comedic relief in a way, but he manages to turn all of these characters on their head, making them tell really deep emotional stories. Sprig's only on Critical Role for 2 episodes, but the amount of impact that this character has in this short time, it makes for a crazy cool impression. I love the relationship he has with Keyleth as well. You see, Keyleth is horrified that what happened to Sprig is what's going to happen to them, Vox Machina, at this point in the campaign. She's afraid that they're gonna fail, and that she's gonna be the only one alive, and everyone's going to be dead. Rewatching these episodes, it's so fun to watch the cast because it's like every time that Darren speaks, they're all immediately glued to what he has to say. Every time he makes a joke, they're all cracking up. It's just really, really cool to watch. The guy is an amazing actor. I highly recommend going and watching back these 2 episodes that he was in. Go back and watch that shit and then tell me you don't want Darren DePaul coming back as a future guest in Campaign 3. Number 2, Lionel Gayhart, aka Chod. Played by amazing comedy actor Jon Heder, Lionel Gayhart, aka Chod, first appeared in Critical Role Campaign 1, Episode 99, the catalyst for the return of the Great Scanlan Shorthalt. Chod is a tall himbo half-orc, multi-classed barbarian and bard, and function as the right-hand man for the Meat Man, aka Scanlan Shorthalt. I mean, this goes without saying, but obviously Jon Heder is freaking hilarious, and his short 2-episode stint he spent on Critical Role is no exception to that. This guy is so freaking funny. The way he plays head-empty characters is just amazing. The comedy just oozes off the guy. It's like he's not even trying. It's just he's not even trying, yet he has the whole cast in complete tears. His dynamic with Sam is absolutely amazing. I wouldn't pick another person to team him up with than Sam Riegel, Scanlan Shorthalt, aka the Meat Man. All of Jon's interactions with the rest of the cast was also freaking hilarious as well, especially his little rivalry he has with Travis's character Grog, as Grog feels like he's being replaced by Scanlan, who all of a sudden has another large barbarian friend. So throughout these 2 episodes, we see that Grog is taking a lot of jabs at Chod, but who has no idea what's going on because the character is absolutely oblivious, just the way that Jon Heder likes them. Like I just said, it's so funny watching the cast's reaction to playing with this guy because it's like everything that he says is just absolute comedy gold. He has the cast in absolute stitches over the stupidest, most offhanded lines. Chod tells the party that he was raised by a group of ducks alone in an oasis, hence why forever since then his totem animal, his spirit animal, was the duck, allowing him to speak with ducks. You're only getting one result when you pluck Napoleon Dynamite out and then place him in a room with Scanlan Shorthalt. It's gonna be absolute hilarity and insanity, which it was. These episodes are some of my favorites of all of Campaign 1, literally just because Jon Heder is on the show. And for all of those reasons, that's why he's number 2 on the list. I mean, how could I not put Napoleon Dynamite in the top 3? Before we get to our number 1 choice, we're going to quickly run through a bunch of honorable mentions. As like we said, there's so many guest characters and awesome guests that come on Critical Role. It was really hard for me to just choose 5 of my favorites. From Campaign 2, we have Shikasta, played by Carrie Payton, the voice of Uriel Taudore in Legend of Vox Machina, by the way, who also featured in Undeadwood. From Campaign 3, Dorian Storm, played by Robbie Draymond. Obviously, Dorian came from Exandria Unlimited, so his character was already very familiar with a lot of the Critical Role audience, but never have I seen a guest character fit in so well with the group that so much of the fan base wanted him to become a permanent member. And finally, from Campaign 1, Carrick, a retired adventurer, played by one of my favorite authors of all time and D&D nerd, Patrick Rothfuss. I'm a huge Pat Rothfuss fan, so of course we had to give him a shout out. I mean, my bias is so big, I almost put him in the top 5 alone because of the Kingkiller Chronicles, because I just love the book series so much. But Pat's not only an amazing author, but an extremely fun and experienced D&D player who fit right in with Vox Machina. Number 1, Spurt. I mean, could it really be anyone else but Spurt? Played by the legendary Chris Perkins, Spurt is a Cobalt adventurer who makes a very brief appearance in Campaign 2, Episode 50. As the Mighty Nine are journeying underneath the Ashkeeper Peaks, they were approached by a strange kobold who introduced themselves as Spurt. Spurt explains that he is only 11 days old, and he fancies himself quite the inventor as he wields a spear with a hornet attached in the end. He has a small cage with a skunk and a bag which he says has a wasp nest inside of it. Spurt leads the party for a little bit through these mountains until he eventually comes upon a fire giant citadel. The tiny kobold with the tiny brain, thinking it would be a good idea to lob his bag with a hornet's nest at these fire giants, who immediately crush him, destroying him, killing him from the party. In all, Spurt was on screen for about 25 minutes, but wow, what a 25 minutes it was. Enough to earn him #1 spot on this list. As well, I think a lot of you would agree with me, Spurt, for all of the guest characters, holds a really big high spot in the fan base. I mean, the whole thing was absolutely hilarious. You could tell that this was just an NPC that Matt had cooked up, and either he gave it to Chris or Chris asked if he could play, but it just made for this really funny, amazing experience. If you don't know, Chris Perkins is the lead story designer at Wizard of the Coast, the guy responsible for a lot of the content in most of the D&D books and modules throughout the years. The guy's an absolute gem, an absolutely amazing storyteller, one of the best DMs to do it, and he understands, you know, moments like this so well. He wants his time and impact on the show to be small, funny, and brief. What better way to do that than to play a kobold who's not so bright, but who has a character who burns brighter than all of the others, rising to #1 on our list. I mean, like we just said, he was only on the show for probably about 25 minutes, but wow, what an amazing 25 minutes it was, enough to earn him #1 on our list. And that's it for my top 5 guests and their characters on Critical Role. Make sure you let me know your top 5 guests in the comments down below, as I expect a lot of people will disagree with me because I probably left out your favorite guests. But like I said, guys, there's a lot to choose from, so there was no way to make everyone happy. Always, if you enjoyed the video or learned something new, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to check out some of our other Critical Role content, like one of our most recent videos, who are the Briarwood's Critical Role's most tragic villains, as well as our episode breakdowns and lore breakdowns as well. As always, thank you for watching my video. You guys make this all possible for me to make these videos, so I do appreciate it. If you want to support me more, consider whitelisting your ad block or checking out my Patreon. As always, stay safe out there, guys. I hope to see you in the next video. Peace, love,